So today, good morning. I've been healing a little bit from some heavy duty jobs that we did. Bueno, I'm not gonna lie to you. I did hear a beautiful. I don't know how I did it by eyeball, but I got it down to 50.9. When you round it off, that's 51 millimeter. Because you have two sides of a bearing. If you go 20 and 20, it's 0.50 millimeter, 0.20 oversized, and 0.20 oversized. It's 1 millimeter, which is on top because it's really 0.50 and 0.50. So it'll make it to the 100. So basically, this one now, I'm gonna spin the engine for you. This one you can have side to side plate, but you cannot have up and down. You cannot have up and down. This one right here. Let me put the flashlight on for you guys. This one right here is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because remember, usually they come from the crankshaft. All right, what I found on this one was that it was at 52.3. And 52 is the standard size. So I don't know why he would do this, where he would put this at 52.3, the crankshaft, when he cut it egg. That's what Monzo was talking about. It was egg shape. You don't weld it. It's better to just grind it down and not have a weld, because the weld could expand with heat. What it really had was contamination. I just did this seal in here, the JBR crankshaft blocker. I'm thinking about in the future, if I don't get rid of it, I found the crankshaft from, I'm trying to get rid of it if I can. Just the RPMs ain't enough. You would have to do a bunch of stuff, modify in order to get it right. One that I compared the little pinhole in the journal that spits oil from my wife's car. My wife's car has like a 1/4 inch. This has like maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe that. So it's very thin. So if you go into thick oil, good luck in pushing that out until the oil is not really warm, and then you're gonna be driving dry. And by the time it gets there, the bearing's already spun. That's what I have analyzed. So you have to use the manufacturer specification oil, which I'm using 530. I was even going to go into 020, 520 or something, a little bit thinner. But my dad told me when the holes are little, you have to use thicker oil. Now, I want to spin the engine so you can see that there's no rod knock no more. This one's actually tight. I put graphite spray on it. And this one right here, because these are going to be 0.10s, because those were standards, and 0.10s. As I measured it, these were actually clean. This one right here, I went into 0.20. I'm gonna tell you why I did that. One, that it went to 50.9, the smallest size. Remember, you could have with the little plastic gauge when you squish it about 200 to 300 thousandths of an inch. 200, 300 thousandths of an inch. This one right here, I didn't have the plastic gauge, but I did it like this, and then I did it like that. So I kind of measured it right. The biggest size was 51.5, which that's what Mikey, or 51.6, maybe. You could take it to there, or 0.7, and then I would have been like, all right. But this right here, you weren't supposed to put an oversized bearing on the connecting rod and run it at 52.3, the crankshaft journal, when standard size is 52. So basically, this car was running frenado. Now, I checked it in all the positions. What I did now is the biggest point was like 51.5. No, it went to like 51 point something, 0.1 or something. So 51.1 and 50.9. When you round off 9, you go to 51. And when you round off 51.1, you can go to 50. So that's kind of there. It's not too bad. Now, the good thing is it's not knocking like the other one when I spinned it. Now, I'm going to spin it for you. See, I'm going to put it in that position because you got to put it in 360, 360, because it's not 180 degree. Let me see. I do not see no play here. I do not see no play here. Side to side, you could have, not up and down. Up and down, no. Let me see over here. No. I'm taking this because I also have another solution how to go up on them. So let me go a little bit. This position, go like that, because what we're trying to find is if it's knocking now. Pero complete off measurement on this, on the welding that he did and the grinding, and no warranty, and 3,000 miles only. So never going there again. See this? See this? No movement yet. Let's move it a little bit. No there. No there. No there. That this is the one that spun. And this one. Pero I caught it on time. I don't see nothing there. Let's spin it like that. Top dead center 1 and 4. I mean 2 and 3. Not there. Not there. Or 3 and 2. And not there. And not there. Look, side to side. You could have a game, a play. Up and down is what we're looking for. Up and down. No play up and down. Side to side because it rubs sometimes here. And now the crankshaft should have a hole here. Now I was looking at the Cosworth crankshafts and I fell in love with 1 or 2 of them. And because they're cut differently. These are cut like an anchorish sort of, but they didn't sharpen the edge and this side. Usually they sharpen this side and they sharpen these sides, like basically like a house roof, like caved in on both insides, like diagonal. Why? Because it cuts through the air quicker and holes right here so the oil could get in there and air. Because if you have it sealed, you only could get it through that little pinhole that Ford does, that any little thing could block it, and no oil, contamination, or any little thing that you have, contamination or whatever, will fuck up the build. So there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. 1 through 3. This is the one that was having the problem. This big ass plate that it has here. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not too convinced about it. I did it with a belt grinder, and little by little with the micrometer, you have to measure. So you do a little bit, and not like one side right here. Like you have to do like the whole U and measure. You know, like you cannot stop it. You'll notice where the big points are. Mark them on the crankshaft if you have to. Remember, I didn't have this tube here. I took out the tube. I just put it in because I'm fully assembling out. Let's move it now into this position. 4 is good. 3 is good. 2 is good. 1 is good. Let's move it again into that position. That is the one that, the position that it would knock. 1 and 2. This one, remember, side to side, yeah. Up and down, no. If it has up and down, and then right here we have to grind down to 51 millimeter and use those. Because remember, you have 2 of them. When people get confused of the bore size, is because the piston is only 1. So let's say you're at 88 and you want to bore it over 20 over, and then yeah, you'll go to 88.5. But it's only 1 piece. This has 2 pieces, 2 sides. It's like putting a ball bearing and a ball bearing. You know, you drill and you put the ball bearing and you measure from the ball bearing when you want the biggest size. Let's say that you went a little too under, or you could do the rollers. Rollers, you get a little 1-inch Dremel and you get in there and you measure, or you do like a little V-cut so oil could sit in there, or you or whatever. So basically, this one right here is not knocking. Is the side-to-side play. You see the side-to-side play? Side-to-side. But no up and down. Another thing I could do, I could also put, I just recently put those brand new. The only one that was giving me a problem was this. Look. This is what I'm looking for. All the position. And I have also more solutions. You can do it, but like I said, you have to measure it like across, like north, south, east, and west, side to side. And you'll have the whole 360, so you don't have a 180. Now, what I figured out was that when I measured it like that, the smallest size was 50.9. You round it off, 51 millimeter because of the 9. And the other one was, like I said, 51.5 was the biggest, and I brought it down to a little bit to 51.1, and I left it at that. And look, no more knocking, no more nothing. This one, side to side, it could, up and down, no. Now, what I'm noticing is you got to make sure that oil comes out of all of them, because that's the problem with all this shit. No oil. When it doesn't get no oil, contamination. So oil is the factor of all this. Now, this one has some contamination. If the machine shop was trying to help me out, he would have done the oil feed on the journals bigger. Now I did a little groove here, because since this is the one always spinning, I did a little groove. But the reason why it actually spun was it had oil. So like they call it oil starvation, though it was blockage, because no oil was coming out through that little pinhole. When I put the little WD-40 spray and spray thin oil, now when you go too thick of an oil, be careful, because it's not going to look good unless you have grooves where they sit. So now it's going to sit. I don't like to put thick oil on little tiny grooves. Thick, bigger grooves like NASCAR, they do their oil feed. That's why they could do 9,500 RPM going around, because they drill from side to side the block they measure the drill bit 5/8 of an inch, and they put that motherfucker like that. A big ass oil passage. But that's the life of the engine. Metal to metal, that's the life of the engine. Now, their roller bearing, they won't consist every little tiny bit of oil. But you got to make sure that it gets oil. If it's not getting oil, and then you have a problem. If it's too tight, you have a problem. Your engine's running too tight. That's where Mike fucked up. You gotta run your engine not that tight. Everything right now is spinning, 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 spinning. If you run it too tight, that's what happens. Look at it right there. That's what was happening. Now you got 1 and 4 top dead center. And that's that. I didn't take out the spark plug, and it has a brand new piston ring compression. The tops have the little feet on the bottom that spit out oil on the top. You see those right there? Those little things, that spits oil to the sleeve. See that right there? That spits oil to the sleeve on all of them. But this one had contamination on the journal. And another thing, I took out the little contamination it had. Another thing that it caused was that the crankshaft, the rod journal on the crankshaft was completely off measurement. It was 52.3. The main bearings went to 53.4. The rod bearing, I mean, on the one that I have over there that spun, because they stretch, they get thinner. Now, when I measured over here, I was like, damn, but how is this going to have 52 if standard size 52? And then he went 0.10 oversized. He was running them way too tight. Remember, you're supposed to run them when you put the little plastic gauge, 200 to 300 thousandths of an inch. That's acceptable. More than that, you'll have play, slack, and with time, is no good. And then I cleaned it up, and I did the little groove so I could have oil sitting there, since this is the one that is doing the hardest force, and it's probably because of this crankshaft counterweight. Now, another crankshaft that I fell in love with, besides the Cosworth, it was the Manley. The Manley had one that was nice and sharp. The edges were cut. It was cut differently. It looked like the big yachts with 160,000 and 80 and 90,000 horsepower. The big yachts. It looked like those. They were cut like just straight down. And those were good. They had cross plane, and they had like this 2 and 2. I like 2 and 2 better, because I get full compression in 2 spins. I would have liked cross plane if it was like a 5-cylinder, and then maybe there. But other than that, I'd rather get my full compression. Just like I like 4-2 crankshaft instead of 2-2 on the inline 6. 2-stroke is always going to be faster than 4-stroke. 4-stroke started coming with the turbo, but you get a snowmobile 900 2-stroke or 1,000 something, and we're gonna see a 2-stroke turbo versus a 4-stroke turbo, and let's see who wins in the snowmobile. But look at that. No play. I've already spun the whole engine completely for you. So that's what it was causing. There it is. I'm going to put fresh oil on it, silicone, and build her back up. the measurement was completely off. Simple as that. I have it on my other YouTube video. I had to get a belt grinder, which I have it inside the car, and do half of it on the big side and the other part. So there you have it.